Hello and welcome to another Crispus book review. Now, something a little different this time. I did move where I'm doing the videos. I'm doing them now right opposite from where I did them because I wanted them to be a little bit more dynamic. So now I'm standing up and you can see a lot more of my hand movements, which I tend to do when I'm talking. And I feel like it's just a lot more engaging, at least I hope so. And I got my wonderful Doctor Who poster here. I love Doctor Who, but that's another video for another day. But today, I'm going to be reviewing the book Encyclopedia Brown, Boy Detective by Donald J. Sobel. Now, this was published back in 1963. It's actually the first in a series of Encyclopedia Brown books. Now, the Encyclopedia Brown books are mainly focused around this character named Encyclopedia Brown. And he lives in this town called Idaville. And his real name is not actually Encyclopedia, though. His real name is Leroy Brown, which always kind of makes me think of the Jim Croce song, though it's not based on that at all. But his father is the chief of police in Idaville. But what makes Encyclopedia so special is that he is very, very smart, and he's read more books. It literally says in the book that he's read more books than anyone else in Idaville. And they always make a different joke in each book, because there's about 20 books. I'm not going to be reviewing all of them, because they all follow the same general format as the first one. But they make jokes like, if he went to sleep without thinking through a problem, he would put a bookmark in his own mouth. Little jokes like that, which are always very helpful. And he's very much he's just a kid, but he loves helping people out with their problems. So, in each book, there's usually about 12 chapters, and each chapter poses a different mystery. Now, the difference between most of the Encyclopedia Brown books and the first one is that the first one has at least one mystery that's actually solved in the chapter. And what's cool about the Encyclopedia Brown books, and why I always loved reading them as a kid, was because they basically would give you all these mysteries, and then it would basically give you all the information you needed to figure out these mysteries inside the chapters. And so, when you wanted to just figure something out, you would just read the chapter, and then you would think about it, and at the end, at back of the book, they had all the answers. So if you wanted to cheat, you couldn't figure it out for the life of you, so you go check in the back of the book, they're all there. But I always loved trying to figure them out myself. I was absolutely terrible at it, and I never really managed to figure them out myself, but I always enjoyed trying. Now, this is probably the only book series where I will just only give you the first book. All the other series I will try to do in a couple weeks I will be starting the Divergent series, and I'm going to cover all I think there's 3 main ones, but there's a 4th additional one that I'm also going to read. So, and I'm trying to get them so that my review of Allegiant lines up with the movie releasing here in a few weeks. So hopefully that will all work out well. Because I did miss a review last week. Sorry, I had tons of homework, couldn't get to it. But I'm going to try to get back into making these weekly. Anyway, but this one hasn't become a movie yet. But one thing it is actually a TV show. It was a TV show on HBO. Now this was HBO before they became GOTN, or as I like to think of it, Game of Thrones Network. But they had a TV show back in 1989, and I think it only lasted about 1 season, so about 12 episodes. And they were 30-minute episodes, but there was one big long 60-minute episode, The Case of the Missing Time Capsule. And a lot of the stories were taken directly from the Encyclopedia Brown books. I think it was about the first 2 that they came from, even though I'm pretty sure there was a ton of books released at that time. But they would go with basically the same thing. I've seen some of the show. They are released on VHS, but if you want to, they are also all on YouTube. So you can go there and check them out if you want. But how they did it is sort of they would basically go and they would give you all the information you needed, and then they would cut to a break right before he solved the mystery, and they would give you a minute or so to think about it before revealing what it actually was, because HBO doesn't have commercial breaks. So they had to find a way to incorporate that little pause so you could think about it and try to figure it out yourself. Now, if you read the books, you usually knew the answers. Now, the only thing I can really say about it, it's extremely cheesy. It's very much feels like you're watching an 80s or a 90s kids film. I honestly felt at times watching it like I was almost watching The Sandlot, which I love The Sandlot, but I can't deny that the way the kids talk is very cheesy. And so it's sort of the same way with the Encyclopedia Brown television show. It was very cheesy, but it's because it was a product of the times, and cheesy was just how things went. But there is a movie in the process, at least that's what I hear, because in 2013, Warner Brothers bought the rights to Encyclopedia Brown with the intention of making a movie, and it's still labeled as in development, but so far there has been no word on absolutely anything since the rights were optioned in 2013. So it's been about 3 years since we've heard anything about Encyclopedia Brown becoming a movie. But all in all, I really loved this book series as a kid. I think I had the first one, I had the 7th one, I had the 10th one, I think I had the 16th book in the series. I think there's around 20 books. But I loved reading them as a kid, even though I could never figure out the mysteries myself. But I always thought they were really well written, and you could definitely tell that the author really he wasn't trying to be tricky. And so it would actually be able for kids to figure this out themselves if they spent the time thinking about it. In fact, though, there was always a couple that I always felt like it was kind of cheap. And also, but given its time period, the 60s, you kind of have to give some of that, because I originally thought, when I was reading one of them, that I had no idea what lox was. And because this guy had lox on a bagel. Now, maybe I'm just uncultured, but I had no idea what lox was. But they mentioned like lox was salty and it makes you thirsty. But I just was like, I was so confused by the lox thing, I thought I was missing something, when actually it was right there. So, but I think even as you get older, these books are worth reading if you haven't read them before, or even if you have, it's great to look at it and like reread them after knowing what the solution is and saying, oh, okay, I see how this ties in. Now, next week, I'm going to be doing something kind of cool. I will be reading How to Eat Fried Worms by Thomas Rockwell, and here's the thing. This is going to be the first book I review on the channel that is not something I've read before. I will be reading a book for a week, and when I get done with it, I will review it. I'm looking forward to it. I've seen the movie a few times, and I'll definitely make mention of the movie and do a little mini review on it in the middle of my review. But that's for next week. Until then, have a great day.